Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into something really fundamental.
Go ahead.
This idea that mathematics isn't just, numbers and equations we learn in school,
Right.
but maybe a universal language connecting, well, everything, our brains, AI, the whole cosmos.
That's a big claim, and it's exactly what we've been looking at, isn't it? There's this article you shared.
Mathematics, universal language of brainpage learning, AI, and the universe by Shiva Narayan Takshila Page.
Yeah, that one. And it really pushes this powerful idea, math as the bedrock for intelligence, for tech, for, well, reality itself.
It's less like a tool we invented.
Exactly. More like the underlying operating system, the source kind of for existence, maybe.
Okay, let's not get too carried away yet. But yeah, our mission here is to sort of unpack that article
Pull out the key arguments.
and really try to grasp how mathematics could act as this unifying language across these seemingly very different domains.
It is a pretty staggering thought, though, that the principles governing how we think
Might also apply to machines.
and the universe on the grandest scale. Yeah.
So let's get into it. The article kicks off basically saying math is way more than just calculation.
Right. It frames it as the language underpinning intelligence, artificial neural networks, ANNs, and the universe's actual structure.
Okay.
And what's really compelling is this idea that these mathematical principles aren't just descriptive labels we put on things.
They're actively
Shaping how information is processed, stored, moved around. Think about it.
Okay.
The signals in your brain when you learn something new, the algorithms in an AI,
Right.
or, gravity holding galaxies together. The article says mathematics provides the fundamental grammar for all of it.
The grammar of reality. Wow. Okay, so the article talks about something called brainpage learning. Now, as I understand it, this is about how the brain takes, say, book knowledge
Abstract information, yeah.
and turns it into something more ingrained, almost like a skill, through neural pathways.
Right. Basically, yeah. Converting passive knowledge into active, almost motor knowledge. So where does the math fit in?
That's the question.
Well, the article lays out three key ways math is deeply woven into this brain page learning thing.
Yeah, okay. 3 ways. Let's hear them.
First is what it calls the spatial mapping of knowledge.
Spatial mapping, like locations.
Kind of. Imagine your brain using spatial math, the same stuff that helps you navigate a room to organize and find information.
Huh.
It even mentions specific bits, the hippocampus, grid cells, place cells. Think of it like the brain's internal GPS.
So it's creating a mathematical map of what you learn.
Pretty much. It's not just remembering the what, but also the where in your mental landscape.
And the article links this to AI.
It does. It draws a parallel to how AI uses geometric mapping, to figure out relationships between data points in some abstract space.
Right, like seeing clusters or connections.
Exactly. So just as AI uses geometry, the brain uses spatial math to structure knowledge. It's a powerful analogy.
Okay, that's one. What's the second mathematical aspect?
Neural calculations for memory formation.
Sound complex.
Well, it describes how different brain parts, like the thalamus and neocortex,
What?
they sort of talk to each other through neural computations,
Yeah.
calculations.
And this does what?
These interactions strengthen the connections between neurons, the synaptic weights, and build up these brain page modules. Think of them as organized chunks of knowledge.
Okay, so it's not just passive absorption. There's actual computation happening at the neuron level.
Definitely. And here's a really interesting bit. The article connects this to calculus.
Yeah, calculus. Really? How?
It suggests that refining knowledge, making it better in brain page learning, happens through these iterative updates, adjustments.
like step-by-step improvement.
Yes, very much like how AI systems use optimization algorithms based on calculus to learn and improve.
Wow. Okay, so constant tweaking based on mathematical rules.
That's the idea. It's this principle of continuous adjustment guided by math, like tuning an instrument mathematically.
Okay, number 3.
The third aspect is cycloside rehearsal and neural networks.
Cyclo what now?
Cycloside rehearsal. Basically, it refers to how the brain reinforces learning through repetition. The thalamus replays these knowledge circuits.
So practice makes perfect isn't just a saying.
It's a neural process, and the article frames it as this feedback loop strengthening connections.
Okay, got it. And the connection to neural networks.
This is where it gets really fascinating. This repetition, this cycloside rehearsal.
Yeah.
It's compared to backpropagation in ANNs.
Backpropagation. That's how AI learns from errors, right? Adjusting connections.
Precisely. The AI adjusts the weights between its artificial neurons iteratively, to get better. So you see the parallel.
Yeah, absolutely. Your brain practicing a skill, and AI refining image recognition.
Both seem to rely on a similar mathematical principle: iterative improvement through feedback,
Yeah.
repetition and adjustment.
And the article's point is that understanding this mathematical underpinning,
Could help make brain page learning, that book-to-brain transfer, more efficient, more self-driven.
which leads us right into the direct comparison between ANNs and this brain page learning idea.
The similarities are pretty striking, beyond just that iterative part.
Like how information gets processed initially.
Yeah. The article points out that in brain page learning, info gets encoded into neural circuits. Specific pathways form.
Okay.
And that's really similar to how AI takes raw data and encodes it into mathematical models it can work with.
It's like translating input into a usable language for the system.
Exactly. Whether that system is biological or silicon.
And then there's pattern recognition. Huge for intelligence.
Absolutely crucial. And the article argues that both humans and ANNs use the same mathematical toolkit for this.
Such as?
Things like probability, figuring out likelihoods, linear algebra for handling big chunks of data, and optimization again, finding the best pattern.
So these aren't just abstract concepts.
No, they're the actual mechanisms, how our brains and AI systems make sense of information overload, find relationships, make predictions.
Using the same fundamental math toolkit.
That's the argument.
And we already mentioned the repetition part, cyclizide rehearsal versus gradient descent in AI.
Right, that shared foundation of iterative learning. It really does make you wonder about the deeper connections.
Yeah, are we just uncovering something fundamental about how learning works, regardless of the substrate?
It feels like that sometimes. And the article even suggests maybe academic learning could borrow from AI.
How so?
Well, if AI optimization techniques are so effective because they tap into these core mathematical principles.
Then maybe we could apply similar ideas to how humans learn in classrooms.
Potentially, yeah. Enhance our own learning by understanding the math that makes AI efficient.
Okay, this is fascinating. But the article doesn't stop at brains and AI.
No, it goes bigger. Much bigger.
It takes this leap into the structure of the universe itself. How does math fit in there?
This is where that universal language idea really hits home. The article gives some classic examples.
Physics equations.
Exactly. Newton's laws, Einstein's equations, using math to describe gravity, motion, why planets orbit, how space-time curves.
So these fundamental physical laws are expressed mathematically.
In the precise language of mathematics, yes. And it doesn't stop at the big stuff. It goes down to quantum mechanics.
The super small scale.
Right. Mathematical wave functions define how atoms and subatomic particles behave, the building blocks of everything, governed by math.
Wow. From galaxies to quarks.
Pretty much. And then there's fractal geometry.
Ah, fractals, those repeating patterns.
Yeah. The article suggests fractals explain loads of natural patterns: tree branches, clouds, coastlines, even galaxies.
And how is that mathematical?
Fractals exhibit self-similarity. The same pattern repeats at different scales. And that repetition isn't random. It's defined by precise mathematical formulas.
So the intricate structure of a snowflake or a spiral galaxy
Has a mathematical blueprint, according to the article. Its underlying order.
So if we pull this all together, the brain, AI, the cosmos.
The argument is they aren't just randomly operating in complex ways. They're all functioning according to fundamental mathematical laws.
Which really hammers home that idea, mathematics as the universal language.
Yeah. And this unifying role, the article suggests, is key. Key to understanding how knowledge is transferred and retained, whether in us or AI, or even just how the universe works.
So just like math lets AI learn patterns or lets the universe operate so precisely,
It also allows our brains to structure and refine knowledge efficiently through these mathematically grounded processes like brain page learning.
it's like math is the fundamental code, shaping intelligence, learning, existence itself.
That's really the core message, isn't it? This timeless universal language connecting these seemingly separate things.
And looking through that brain page learning lens shows how our brains intuitively use these principles. Pattern recognition, practice, neural refinement.
All having these deep mathematical roots, even if we don't consciously think about the equations.
And it is truly remarkable that ANNs trying to mimic intelligence land on such similar mathematical models and learning methods.
It's convergence, maybe. Finding the same optimal solutions because the underlying language is math.
And then zooming out again, seeing those same elegant mathematical descriptions running the universe.
Yeah. The article wraps up with this thought. What if we embraced mathematics not just as, a school subject.
but as this living language of intelligence, permeating everything.
What could that unlock?
Yeah.
New ways to understand ourselves, faster AI progress, maybe even insights into cosmic mysteries.
Thinking of math as this active living language, that's a shift in perspective.
It really is.
So maybe a final thought for our listeners to chew on.
Yeah.
Think about something you're interested in. Could be anything: music, gardening, economics, cooking.
Okay.
Even if it doesn't seem mathy on the surface, try to consider, are there underlying mathematical principles at play, shaping the patterns, the processes, the way things work or grow or interact?
Looking for the hidden math.
Yeah. And could seeing that, appreciating that hidden mathematical structure, could it actually change how you approach that interest, how you perceive reality, even just a little bit?
That's a deep one. Definitely food for thought.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.